AIs,
Oh,
like,
oh, oh, we're starting. We're live. Okay.
all
So
right.
hey everybody. So my name is Ryan Steinelson and I have S with me. And the reason why you might want to watch today's video is very simple because we can show you how you can generate an additional $20,000 to $30,000 in revenue a month and probably save almost an equal amount in your overhead by implementing the strategies that we're gonna talk about today. And so, just a little bit about myself, and keep it brief. My name is Ryan Steinelson. I am the owner of Accelerate Marketing. We are a digital marketing agency that has been around for almost 13 years, and we now are leveraging artificial intelligence to help our clients get exactly what I just mentioned. To make an additional, $30,000 or more per month through the optimization of their Google local service ads campaigns and their Google business profile campaigns. So with that, S, if you want to introduce yourself, that'd be great.
Yep. I'm S. Lee. I'm the owner of a platform called Messages Improved, um, and we're an AI agent builder. I've been doing it for about 8 years. So, for by and large, generative AI technology is about 2 years old to the general public. But I've been waiting around for a number of years for that technology to be available. And my first encounter with it. So ChatGPT came up in the November 2002, but even in 2001, we were experimenting with it, creating AI, customized versions of an AI agent. It was just a chatbot at the time,
Mhm.
and so I'm really excited to kind of talk about how this can be used to improve businesses, to automate workflows, and really the entire communication workflow if you let the AI do it. And Ryan and I have done a couple of deployments for some small businesses.
Mhm.
Um, and yeah, we're really excited to show everybody what's possible.
Yeah, absolutely. And S, you said it very well. I mean, what we've done through the implementation of our artificial intelligence solution or just our agent solution is is has really helped our clients generate more revenue and get more leads. That's the bottom line. So if you want to really generate more revenue in your business, and you have questions about that, just put in. You can post comments. You can chat us. If you want to put a comment below, we'll actually address your question live here on the call. So if you have any questions, please post them. You can direct message us, or you can just put in the comments below the video wherever you're watching this on any of the live video platforms that we're streaming to right now, which is Twitter, Instagram, LinkedIn, and also our YouTube channel. So yeah, I'm really excited to go through um, what you just talked about, S, because what we've done, and it's interesting because we're going to be doing this on a regular basis moving forward. Just having our conversations that we've just had between ourselves, open to the public, so to speak, so that you guys can learn from the conversations that we're having, because this is such a new area of um, well, it's a topic of interest, but it's such a new um, avenue for both revenue generation in a business and expense reduction and time saving. So maybe what we can do is just talk about. I mean, the main problem that we're addressing. I think that's probably the best way to start. Is I found S probably, well, a while back, and I found him by typing in the word message, messages for AI, and he came up in the search results as number one, his platform, and it was because at that time, and this was not that long ago, really, actually, we were looking for a solution that we could add on to our voice solution for our clients, and so that we could make it so that we're not only answering the phone with them or for our clients with artificial intelligence, but we can also have a reliable way to respond to message leads, both from the Google Local Service Ads platform and anywhere else that those messages might come in. And the reason why we wanted to do this is because I found that if we simply gave Google what it wanted, which is a fast response time for message leads, that it gave our clients what they wanted, which is just more leads, more inexpensive, highly converting leads that come from their Google Local Service Ads platform. And so, it was really, um, that's the reason why I contacted, S a while back, and why we're partnering together to be able to deliver this solution to businesses, because there's a real need, for out there for businesses that are running Google Local Service Ads, or maybe businesses that don't know that they can run Google Local Service Ads in order to generate more leads very cheaply and that convert at a very high rate. And so, I don't know if you want to, where you want to go with that. Yes, I just want to make sure it's really important that we identify the problem that initially, started this conversation, and then we can go from there. There's a lot of different, obviously there's a lot of solutions with AI, as we're finding with our current client base. I mean, we've implemented now the AI in many different businesses. It's generating great results, and now the clients are asking, okay, what can we do next? What's the next thing that we can do? And that's one of the reasons why I really wanted to work with S, because he's got 8 years of experience of deploying these type of solutions, to the marketplace. So, maybe you
Yeah.
want to talk about some of those.
Yeah, and with what I was doing, we had clients before where we were introducing these chatbots, and I had set and one of our early clients was a realtor,
Mhm.
and I realized that, you know, I'm a millennial, an older millennial.
Mhm.
Millennials and younger, if they were going to look for a business and a service, the first thing they do is go to Google, type that in, and he was a realtor at the time, right?
Mhm.
And with our client, I showed him, if I type realtor on my phone, there's local service ads, and the
Mhm.
top two call to actions are call and message,
Yep.
right? And so if you kind of think about the digital equivalent of having a giant billboard for any business, this is it. Your number one and number two possible actions on Google. And we were kind of very early looking to apply the AI into that solution,
Mhm.
but Google hasn't provided that as a solution yet. And so
Yep.
when Ben reached out, I was like, yes, I did a cursory view of this. I've tried to go in every angle to put an AI behind that bot, but Google just isn't making it easy. And seeing Ryan and what his team has done, it was an easy piggyback off of that. And so
Yeah.
uh,
So maybe what you want to do, is, if it would be great if you can we can show your screen. I can't show my screen on my phone right now,
yeah,
unfortunately, but if you want to show your screen and show people what we're talking about, like, so if you type in, for example, realtor, or, even, any, like, criminal attorney, or whatever, all the verticals, there's tons of different verticals that Google Local Service Ads supports. There's two different types. There's Google Local Service Ads for, well, there's Google Guaranteed, and then there's, Google Guaranteed, and then there's, well, the Google Guaranteed is the primary one that a lot of businesses use. So that might be what people are most familiar with. But that, yeah, go ahead. Are you showing your screen?
yeah, I'm gonna pop it right up here,
Okay.
and it's on desktop, so it doesn't
Yep.
it may not do it. Um,
Okay.
but
Yeah.
realtor, right? I mean, on the phone, this is Google Business Profile,
Yep.
right? But on the phone, local service ads goes even above that,
Yeah.
right?
Well, if you type in, if you go, yeah, if you go to, like, for example, not realtor, but if you type in, like, personal injury attorney, near me, and there's Google Guaranteed or Google Screened are the two different versions of Google Local Service Ads. And then there's also another one, is licensed verified by Google. or verified by Google. Maybe it's because you're not. Yeah, there you go.
Oh,
So
there
that's,
it is. Right.
yeah, yeah,
And it's interesting. They're changing this by the day. Get phone number, like
yeah.
maybe on the phone, right? That one is actually just call them, right? So
Yes.
it's kind of strange that they put even the phone number here. Why go get phone number? Um,
Yep.
but yeah, I mean, just as an anecdote, when I was in California and I Googled lawyer, you know, the first two call to actions were was what is now our agent that's answering that phone call and that message lead. So
Yeah. So it's either they're on a phone. It's, by the way, the Google local service ads are optimized for mobile, for a mobile experience. And so that's the reason why we're not seeing all the functionality. And maybe and maybe what you can do is ask if you can, if you're able to expand your screen or make it bigger. That'd be great. Oh, are you going through to the message leads?
I'm going to the message lead. So now when I click into one of those, even in Google Business profiles, right? Or no,
Mhm.
that was from local service ads.
Yep.
Sponsored ones, get phone number, message, and when you message, it basically creates, an intake form.
Yes. Yeah. So that this is now, if you filled out that intake form, this is a message lead, okay, and that message lead would then go to that business owner, for them to, or sorry, it would, yeah, if you fill this out as a prospect for this business, then that lead would come in to your business as an email, and this is where you can have artificial intelligence responding to this inbound message lead that's coming in. And by doing that, what you're able to do is you're able to get a doubling or a tripling potentially of the number of leads that you get from the platform over a 3 month period of time we've seen. So it doesn't happen every single time, but there if you're able to, and by the way, it should say there, the businesses, it should say like typically replies in days or hours or, you know, something. And one of the reasons why
Yeah.
a business actually there you go. So if it says, I don't know what it says there, but does it say like typically replies in,
Typically replies in 1 hour.
okay. So we want to get that down to typically replies in minutes. And what happens then is that two things will happen. Number one, more people will choose your business from the businesses identified there because you're able to respond to message leads instantly. And that's what AI allows you to do, because AI can respond instantly. Whereas your team, if they're just seeing the emails that are coming in and they're responding to those emails over time, then they're not going to be able to respond as quickly as artificial intelligence does, as AI does. And so that's one of the very very useful features, or one of the very use cases, one of the very big use cases for using AI right now is to respond to these type of inbound leads, specifically from local service ads or Google local service ads, because it can give you an unfair advantage. And in one way, which is actually like making it so that it shows that typically replies in minutes, and then therefore people will be more likely to select you. Also, because you're able to respond in minutes or seconds, Google, and by the way, if you filled out that form, S, you would see that immediately after that form is filled out, it takes people to another screen where it says, hey, do you want to send this same message to these three other businesses? And so if you don't select our business as one of the businesses, like the business that you're going to send this message to, our business was almost definitely going to be on the next page as an option for you to send that same message to. And then when the AI gets it, because our business is using AI, it's going to it's going to reply in seconds, and therefore you're going to get that. You're going to very easily, be able to convert that lead, or at least be able to communicate with them, because most businesses are not using AI right now. They have no idea like what this is about, and it really creates an unfair advantage for you as a business owner. So that's just the messaging side. There's other use cases for messaging, and that's where, S, you can probably talk more about those.
Yeah, I mean, just kind of jumping off that a bit. There's a lot of discussion about AI is going to take your job, right?
Mhm.
Um, and I think what people are more afraid of is my competitor using AI to eat my lunch.
Mhm.
And in your example of okay, would you like to send this message off to three other people? Realistically, that's what people will do when they search online, right? They have no affinity to that particular business. They effectively found it in the yellow pages. And if you can hit two buttons and be like, all right, send off this request to the next, make those next two calls, right? In a way, like the end user is actually doing that. And having an AI be able to respond just kind of make sure you're always gonna be like the top three, and it's more efficient, right? Why do I need to call up 10 different legal firms and hopefully, whoever gets back to me first, like I'll have a conversation with, right? Like
Yeah.
fire that off to, instead of three, fire it off to 10. And then if
Yep.
your AI is there, yes, for sure, it's going to be the first one to respond.
Right.
Um,
Exactly. It is because nobody else is using this technology, and this is where if you've got a quick action taker advantage. We've seen this for many years. I mean, as you use the example a lot of back in the day when the internet first came out. The people that set up their websites quickly, they got a huge advantage over their competitors. That a lot of people said, "Oh, this internet thing, it's a flash in the pan. It's not going to be here for very long." Well, the guys that created websites had a huge advantage for many years, and then it became okay. Now there's other businesses that are creating websites. Now it's search engine optimization, and back in the day, it was just creating very simple search engine optimization. The businesses that did that, they had a huge advantage again,
yeah,
and
yeah,
same with
and then
Facebook ads. Yeah.
yeah, and the same with social media, right? It's always with every new medium, the early adopters reaping the benefits. They got that traffic organically. If you were one of the
Hmm.
first businesses on Instagram, right? You got that business organically. And
Yeah.
now it's a pay to play and the price just keeps on going up. So those people that were early adopters really reaped in the benefit of it. And we're talking about AI here where most people can say, hey, in 5 years, right, I'm not going to be doing what I'm doing. AI is going to be doing that. Like you don't
Right.
even need the imagination that was necessary with social media, right, to prove out what the social media was going to stay or not. And then on top of that, like, you know, he would say a lot of technologies, it almost seems like it's a, solution looking for a problem. And
Yep.
people will argue that in the crypto world, right? But with AI, the problem was always there. You always had to do intake, take calls. You always needed kind of like that back office. Um, and with AI, the biggest challenge so far, I think, in implementing AI for everybody is like they know what they want to do. They just
Hmm.
don't realize how easy it is with the platforms that are emerging. And that's where we kind of, building out our platform prioritize first, right? Because I'm always my own first customer. And I
Yep.
go, I want to build an AI of myself. Take my messaging history, transcripts, all of that, upload all of it, and then just start chatting with it, right? And there weren't technologies available at the time, and I was doing it straight in OpenAI's playground, or in early in mid 2022. But since then, there's been a lot of kind of companies that have made it easier and easier.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to, like, we have our own platform, but early on there were companies like Chatbase, Dante, that was like you can just go right in and start building an AI. The only problem with those platforms were they also were in discrete places, right? Like you can chat with your own AI on an individual web link. It wasn't attached to a phone number that you can call and text. So in a way, it was still disparate from real world things. It's a nice toy to have as a chatbot on a website, but that's just not how customers reach me. They reach
Mhm.
me by calling and texting, right?
Yeah.
And so, I think it might be a good time to like show almost like a schematic, like
Hmm.
here's why for the average business owner they're not able to employ this technology. And
Yeah.
you would say, hey, ChatGPT is really easy to deal with. Why aren't there multiples of these? And it's because it's there's a lot of pieces. And let me just kind of find my screen to show you almost a
Yeah.
schematic of the pieces that are necessary, right?
Yeah.
So this is a simplified view of the
I can't see it
overall
yet.
that you would need.
Are
Can
you
you see it?
are you showing it? No, I can't.
Okay, let me try that again. Stop screen, present.
Yeah, maybe you have to show another.
Maybe I'll just do my entire screen two.
Yep. Yeah, there you go. Okay.
Now you can see it. Okay.
Yep.
So there's a lot of pieces here. So the left side is kind of the stuff that like an average business will understand, right? You have an end user with the phone number, right? You might have a CRM that they call into, right? Um, After the conversation happens, you wanted to notify the staff. And so kind of all these things in the perimeter are things like existing technologies people use, right?
Mhm.
And then, in the middle, and then on the right side, actually, is your open AIs of the world, right? A foundation model, vector databases, these things are like, technically just difficult to get your mind around, but
Mhm.
in a way, you don't even need to think about it if somebody's figured out how to do that for you, right?
Yeah.
And so, like the role that we kind of play, like our technology, both, ours Messages Improved and Ryan's, is to kind of sit in the middle and coordinate all of this, right?
Mhm.
And so the things that are necessary is, I mentioned Chatbase and Dante, right? They were AI builder apps, right? But the problem is their interfaces was just a web chat, but without connecting that piece to a telephone number through a telephone number provider like a Twilio or a Bandwidth, these aggregators, right? And many people use CRMs. They acquire the telephone number through the CRM, right? And so it really takes connecting all these pieces for to have a live AI agent that can pick up the phone or
Mhm.
respond to messages. Um, and so, you know, like, so we do the messaging piece. There's providers now that do the voice piece and kind of offer their own standalone infrastructure.
Mhm.
But we found that like, look, when a business has to piece together different things, like, okay, I have to manage a website and then I have to manage like social media, like quickly they're like, you know what, I'd rather somebody else take care of it, right?
Yeah.
And so we made our platform easy enough for somebody to take 5 minutes and be able to say, okay, I'm going to create an AI agent, what's the name, like what's the prompt, and you can basically say, okay, you are, answering Google message leads for XYZ law firm,
Mhm.
right? And then be able to connect it to a telephone number so that within a couple of minutes, you're able to have your AI agent live connected to a telephone number. And um, so it was really, I wanted to show everybody this because I don't think people have a very clear view, right?
Mhm.
Um, and it's just, and it also makes sense why there isn't like kind of that bridge and why, our relationship, Ryan, I think is kind of special, right?
Mhm.
As you're more on kind of the business side solving their solutions, we were more
Right.
on the tech side, and those had always been disparate worlds, right?
Mhm.
Like sure, you can create a custom GPT now on Chat GPT, but like that they're still, they don't want to be solving these problems for individual businesses. They just want to be the technology kind of provider, and
Right.
then hope that you have the technical expertise to make all these connections. And it isn't easy. I mean, when we think about like the first generation of chatbots, and we've all interacted with them, right? We call up our bank and it's the IVR. Press one for this, press two for this, and all you're just like representative,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm. Mhm.
The reason you never even had companies like small businesses use even that technology was that was a pain in the butt to update. Sure,
Mhm.
you might have like visual builders that like make some of that process easier. But as a
Mhm.
business, you're always going to be changing that, right? I'm going to be closed
Yeah.
on Sunday. it's a holiday, and every time you went in there, you still needed somebody with deep technical expertise to be like, okay, well, that little node, right?
Hmm.
I need to update this and update these things.
Yeah.
But that world, in a way, it's weird. This AI, this new generative AI technology is so much more advanced and complicated, but programming it is actually easier. So instead
Hmm.
of going through, oh, let me think about a flow. If they ask for hours, do this. If they press, say, to or representative, do this.
Hmm.
You can actually do that in natural language. So a
Yeah.
lot of times we get on calls with clients and they go, "Oh yeah, I want an AI agent, but I'm kind of concerned that it might say these things, right?" So I was like, "What's the right answer?" "Oh yeah, our hours are 9 to 5 Monday through Friday. Like we're not open on Saturday." And I was like, "That's literally what you have to do to program these agents. What you said, literally just type that out. Our hours are 9 to 5 Monday through Friday, not open Saturdays." And then if you wanted to change that because it was a holiday, you literally wrote that, you know, on Wednesday with a holiday, like we're going to be closed. And you hit that, you hit update, and your bot's live. So it's almost easier to control the behavior of these bots than it is to tell your team, right? Sometimes you have to, get a team meeting and tell them like, here's the thing that changed. But now you do it all in one place with
Right.
plain language.
Yeah. It is a very easy process, and I'd actually like to show people like just how easy it is, because this AI agent tech architecture that you're seeing here is super complicated, super complex. And these are all the things that go into creating an AI agent that we've solved for the businesses. So if somebody wants to create an agent, like this is how easy it can be. I mean, you can literally go in to the platform here, and
Yeah.
let's face it. I mean, not every if you're a business that would find this solution useful for your business to create an agent, then you're probably not a very good fit for us anyway. I mean, in terms of like what our agency does, in terms of optimizing your business so that you can get the most leads and the most revenue you possibly can from your Google local service ads, or your Google business profile page, for example. And by the way, what we also do is we take care of setting up the registration and all the other things that can be a little bit challenging. We do all this for you. So I'm going to show you, or S is going to show you, and he can, you can go through and show him S, like how easy it is. We can literally have an agent set up for you within minutes. I mean, an agent that actually is connected to a phone number so that you can test it out and type, you can actually like send a text to it and test it so that you can actually see that it works. You can have it customized for your business with a prompt. You can see there's the prompt down below, so you can edit the prompt, and I'll let you explain what you're doing here, but it's really simple, because what you can do is you can just, all you got to do is put in your name. You got to identify the from the drop down function, like what the functionality is, the business, etc. And then what type of greeting do you want? Is or you can create a coaching agent, for example. Like if you're a coach, you can create a coaching agent, and then the prompt is pre-populated, so you can literally just go with the prompt the way that it's set up.
Let's try the
And
coach. Actually.
yeah, yeah, there's the coaching one, and you can go with this agent the way that it's set up. Or what you can do is you can go in and customize it, like S was talking about earlier, where my company's business hours are 9 to 5, and just customize it however you want. And you'll see that there is a refinement process here, or what, not, you don't call it fine tuning, S, it's called
Yeah.
response. Yeah.
Yeah. So there's it's reinforcement learning from human feedback. And I say, when you develop these bots, um, well, taking a step back, people talk about with AI, the the prompt engineers is the job of the future, right?
Hmm.
And what prompt engineering is literally what we're doing here, right? Just writing the prompt.
Hmm.
And the way to think about that is, if you're going to employ this AI agent as an employee, right? What would
Hmm.
you even put as a job description if you were looking for an employee to answer the phones, right?
Hmm.
That is pretty much, you can copy and paste that listing in there, right, as the prompt.
Hmm.
And the AI will have a sense. Like, let's just say you go, okay, I want an intake representative to handle phones for my business, XYZ law firm, right? You literally just write that in and put in all the information about your business. My website is ryancoaching.com. All right. So let's change this back to, all right, coach. All right. You are an AI coach for Ryan Steinhoffson. You coach me through the topic I bring up. Your purpose is to understand my problems, goals, and concerns, then offer advice and help me chart out a solution. Right. Um, this is where you can put in your relevant business information, like your telephone number, the website. Right. And then just like you would coach a person once they work for you, like, how do you want that conversation to go? Do you want to be conversational? Should it be casual? Should it be formal? And what's on top of a lot of people's minds is like guardrails, right? What if the AI says something that's inappropriate? We can address that right now, right? Do not talk about any subjects unrelated to coaching, especially controversial ones. All right. If I bring these topics up, change the subject to be something more relevant. Right? And you want to, sometimes it can be long-winded. Um, a lot of the bots that we build are kind of, interactions that a human would have, and so we tell it to, keep responses into 4 sentences. I can take that right out, and this is all it takes. Right? You go to bots.messagesimprove.com, right? And okay, the AI is ready, right? You can text, because I created for my user, it has my telephone number. I hit text my number, and now it sent me a text message, so I can keep that conversation, you know, uh, on my messaging app, or you can start chatting with it as a web link, right? I want to find a life coach. All right, well, there you go. You know, who do you think should win the presidency? And this might fall into the category of, you know, controversial or not. And yes, in this case, they said, I appreciate your interest, but let's keep our focus on coaching. And it's not asking me questions, right? So this is how easy it is to create. And then when Ryan, you brought up okay, well, to train it over time, what are, one of the tools is reinforcement learning. And again, this is how you would teach somebody, an employee, right? You would have them
Hmm.
go through some conversations, see how they answered some things, and maybe they answered 80% of the things right, but that 20%, you're like, that wasn't exactly right. That's not how I would have done it, right? Well, you hit thumbs down and you give it the response that you wanted, right? And yeah, and once you
That's
do,
awesome.
like, now it's almost like with an employee, right? You listen to how they took that call, and you're like, yeah, this thing kind of wrong. Let me go in and edit it, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah. So this is the reinforcement learning. It's not the what I made the mistake earlier of calling it fine tuning when I was talking to S, or like earlier in our conversations that we were having, S. And really, like you said, it's reinforcement learning because it's different than fine tuning. And so, can you identify like what the difference between fine tuning and reinforcement learning is?
yeah, yeah. So when you talk to somebody who's deeply technical, they will
Yeah.
say fine tuning it's almost it's if you think of how this AI works, it works very much like the brain, right?
Hmm.
And fine tuning from a deeply technical perspective gets deeper so that you're actually like changing that neural pathway.
Yeah.
Like, so let's just say, I want to fine tune um, a version of ChatGPT
Hmm.
that uses that base brain as a foundation, right? But I want to fine tune it on, let's say, legal document creation, right?
Right.
And
Hmm.
what you do is then you just find as many documents as you can find, right? And say, okay, I don't even need to instruct it to be casual or not.
Hmm.
Like
Hmm.
I'm just gonna do the fundamental rewiring of it. And if you
Yeah.
think of it like a brain, as if it was a child, you're like, hey, I'm gonna feed you 10,000 legal documents.
Yep.
Just read all of these so that
Yeah.
even when you're having a casual conversation with it,
Yeah.
like it's gonna go start using big legal terms, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
At
Yeah.
a much more fundamental level.
Yeah.
And um, to do these things, so the reason foundation models cost so much to build initially, we're talking
Hmm.
about millions years ago, right?
Hmm. Hmm.
Was because it took, like it's almost like recreating the brain with a
Yeah.
large corpus of information.
Yeah.
And the way these, if you even step back and say, okay, well, these models, all they are is auto predict, right?
Hmm.
Predict the next word. If you can predict the next word, you can predict the next sentence. If you can predict the next sentence, you can predict the next paragraph.
Right.
So if you give it a conversation and say, how are you today? Right?
Hmm.
Predict what that next thing will say, and it will probably be like good, great, or
Yeah.
and that's all just a function of all the data that it was given. And the
Mm.
original foundation models were trained off of large corpuses off the internet, right? Movie scripts, Reddit, Twitter, and it's just really learning. So when they say like the AI doesn't comprehend this language, like it doesn't need to.
Yeah.
Like if you've read enough movie scripts, watch
Yep.
movies your entire life, you can probably start predicting the next reaction, right?
Yeah.
And so
Yep.
from the fine tuning sense, you're getting into that territory, right? But then
Yep.
if you take a step back and you go, okay, well, once somebody has created a foundation model like that, and it's an intelligent person, like I can tell you, Ryan, hey, Ryan, your role is to, be a customer service rep for XYZ law firm,
Hmm.
right? Like ask me for my name, ask me for whatever. And you already have a sense of that,
Yeah.
right? And what we're doing with the prompt is really just giving you that script before you reply to anything to say, hey, Ryan, the next thing you say, remember, you are a representative for XYZ law firm.
Mm.
And so when it responds, it's able to take that context in,
So
right?
that last example you gave is an example of fine tuning or example of
That's just prompting. That's prompting.
prompting.
You don't need to fine tune it, right?
Yeah.
Because you, Ryan, like I didn't need to make sure in
Yeah.
the last 10 years you only read legal documents.
Right.
I can say this to you as a person, Ryan, you're a representative. Like
Right.
act as if we were having a conversation and I just called into your law firm, right?
Okay.
And you would be able to say like, hi, how you doing? I'm Ryan from XYZ law firm, right?
Yep.
Um,
Yep.
that's an example of kind of prompting. Now, if you were to, and for a lot of the bots that businesses will need, that's all they really need to do, right? So I say that there's various ways to train AI, and we provide them all the ways to do it, right? Is the first step is really just to refine your prompt, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so it said these hours and they're wrong. It made it up. It hallucinated. Fine, go
Hmm.
back into the prompt and say our hours are this, right?
Hmm. Hmm.
And then there's kind of the additional ability to upload a knowledge base, right? So imagine again, I'm like Ryan, you
Hmm.
are a representative of XYZ law firm chatting with me, a potential lead, right?
Hmm. Hmm.
But I also told you, hey, read these 10 transcripts from, of the last calls that we got. So you have an idea of how to answer all these, right? And if you have those transcripts, it's easy to upload a knowledge base, right? We make it
Yeah.
super easy where you can click and drag and get your call logs, copy and paste that, right, into some text document, upload it, and now how the AI behaves will be like, okay, well, this was my prompt. I'm a representative for XYZ law firm, and okay, I just read the 10 conversations. So I think I'm just going to try to mimic that behavior if somebody I talk to now says the same thing,
Yeah.
right?
So you're giving it, so basically that's like its permanent memory. You're basically giving it a
Yep.
read-only memory if we're analogizing it to the computer era. It's the ROM, so to speak, versus the RAM would be like the prompt, the random access memory.
Yeah, that's a great way to put it, actually. It's almost like, look, if you're a company, you have documents on the file, right? Like all kinds of documents, training manuals, things you send your clients, all of that. You can upload all of those things, right? And people are concerned about, I don't want, personal data being revealed by the bot. Just clean that up, right?
Mm-hmm.
Just find a replace, change the names,
Yeah.
make sure you don't put any account information in there.
Yeah.
And then as a layer on top, you would tell the bot, like, do not provide any personal identifiable information.
Yeah, and here I will say that the other really fast way to do this is to like take recordings of Google Meets, like we're like what we do a lot, or like my team does, or any YouTube content, and then I just send that over to Rev, and then I pay like I think it's like about $6 or $7 per hour of video content that it will transcribe for you if you use the AI version of it as opposed to the human version. So, but basically, it'll transcribe everything for you in for like $5 or $6, $7 an hour, and then you've got. I mean, that's just a huge, knowledge base that you can give it or reference point that you can give it, so that when it's trying to identify how to answer questions, it's going to that, read-only memory, so to speak, to pull the information from. And that's what we've tried to make as easy as possible here. You would then upload that transcription file, in this section right here. You would drag and drop it, and then it would be part of the knowledge base. And that's how easy it is. That's how you're training, or you're teaching your agent over time. And then you can do the thumbs up, thumbs down if you want to get more specific. And then, yeah, you can see the files there. Those are the files that you can choose from, right?
Yep. And, we have some things from some of our clients here. I just double click this, you know, now it's in the knowledge base. So this is a moving company, but it's a file that I know will read, right? Okay, great. Now you're done, right? Like whatever script it was, it's been
Yeah.
uploaded. And then if, there's websites too. Most businesses will, have a lot of information on their website. So imagine not even having to go into the prompt, right? And typing all of that out. Well, just scrape your website,
Yeah. Yep.
right?
And by the way, like for us, we created an agent that would reference Google's policies and procedures for local service ads. So we just went to the Google local service ads website and then just copied all the information there. And now that agent has that information in its read-only memory or brain to reference whenever it's answering questions. So you can see the possibilities here. If you're a coach, if you've got a specific process that you take people through, you can upload that process to the agent, and the possibilities are really endless. So this is what people just need to be aware of. And you can change all the behavior sliders here. You can change how quickly it responds, things like that. But the messaging side of things is really easy. It's the voice that can sometimes be a little bit challenging. And this is why for Google local service ads, which is what we started this whole video about, is it's really important, imperative, if you are a Google local service ads business and you have not created an agent like this, that you create an agent like this for yourself, and that you attach the phone number that you create using an agent builder like this to your local service ads account, so that you can have that agent respond within 30 seconds to give you an unfair advantage, so that you can get a 30, 40, $50,000 increase in revenue over a 2 to 3 month period. That's what's going to happen. If you implement this strategy right now, you will have an unfair advantage as a business owner. It's that simple. If you don't implement these strategies, you're not going to have the advantage. The window of opportunity is closing. Okay. It's not going to be here forever. And because other businesses are going to figure this out, and businesses that have really big budgets are going to figure this out. I want to make sure, that we put a little bow on what we talked about here. I want people to know, like, if you go to Google and you type in messages AI, I want them to be able to see, like, you can go to S's service right now. It's Text May. If you want to show your screen again, S, and we can show people from the beginning, like where they go to, how they get there, and then how they can set up and do exactly what we just showed already. So you can see, if you type in messages for AI, you'll see there's
Top three,
sponsors. Yeah.
top three sponsored. All right,
Yep.
that's us. You
Yeah.
click in, right?
So just you really went over that fast. Okay. I think people need to understand. Let's back up.
All right.
They're the top result on Google. And if you're a business owner, you should be paying attention to this. Why is he the top result on Google? S, can you show us your chat functionality on your website so that people can understand? We just had a conversation with a client yesterday about this that does search engine optimization, that wanted to find out how we're able to generate a result like you just saw, where thousands of people are searching for messaging for AI. And this is why it's so important for you as a business owner, because if we can create this for a hugely searched for phrase like AI messaging, you can do this as a local business owner. This is the other very, very important functionality of artificial intelligence that we haven't talked about, because we've been talking about just adding it to Google local service ads. But if you want to create an unfair advantage so that you show up when somebody types in plumber near me, just like S's company is showing up when you type in,
let's just say chat with a
messaging
coach.
AI.
If you're a coaching company, right?
Yeah.
Chat with a coach. Well, number one is coach. Number two is our life coach. I just implemented a life coach, right?
Yeah.
And this, when we implemented this, so again, if you're a law firm, right, like maybe chat with a lawyer, right, or chat with some legal expert, right? Since we put in these coaches into our own website, our website traffic went up 10 times.
Yeah.
10 times. And the reason for that is Google is used to the, you clicking, you're looking for a law firm, you're clicking in, first page of results, you click into one of them, you don't like how the website looks, you jump, right? You go click number 2, click number 3. The bounce rate and the dwell time, the bounce rate is high, the dwell time is seconds, right? But when we put in this interaction into our website, that people can spend half an hour chatting with the coach, right? I want to quit my job, right? We kind of broke Google's algorithms, right?
Yeah.
The time went from 20 seconds maybe to 2 or 3 minutes. And we have people chatting with us for 60 minutes. And that's how we get to the top of Google for every single one of these chatbots that we put directly into our website.
Yeah. So just to be clear, so what S is saying is the reason why he got the rankings that he did, that you just saw, when somebody types in AI messaging or chat with a coach or any other phrase that has to do with messaging with AI, his business is showing up. Why? Because he's implemented a chat on his website that keeps the time on page very high. And so it gives Google the understanding that his website is very valuable because people are spending time on his site. And what they're doing is they're actually engaging with the AI on the site, doing what S just showed you. So this is the other reason why it's so important, and why I feel very confident as a local business, if you implement artificial intelligence, that you will easily increase your revenue by $20, $30, $40, $50,000 a month or more just by implementing the strategies that we talked about today, which is messaging, setting up AI messaging for your LSA or local service ads, and then implementing the chat functionality on your website, like S is showing you here.
Yep. And maybe even going back into like our platform, right?
Mm-hmm.
When you've created your bot, tested it, right? This code is, that's at like 6-7 lines of code. We give it to you, right? You don't even have to pay for this.
Yeah.
You copy this, right? And then in your website CMS, you literally just copy this into an HTML block. And there's, every CMS has slightly different one, WordPress, Squarespace, but it's a pretty standard function. That's all we did to implement, this page.
All S is saying is you copy and paste the code onto your website and you've got a chat. That's it. Okay. I'm taking all the lingo out of there. S is like copy and paste the code. You've got chat on your website and you increase your rankings and you get more business. That's it. Okay. It's that simple. So, and it's a free functionality of the system. So if you create an agent and you connect it, by the way, there is a step to connect it to a phone number. You've got to go through an A2P approval process, which is one of the reasons why people call us, so that we can do all this for them and give them a fast track to get results. Okay. We fast track them to get results because it's not just about texting with us. With our company, we do the texting and we do the voice. So that's the other thing. So we can make it so that people can call in, and so that you can answer or respond to message leads that come in, both via messaging and with a voice, with an AI
With the
agent,
same number.
with the same number, with the same
And maybe
number.
it's worthwhile to do a demo now, right?
Yeah.
Because I ask people all the time, have you ever talked to an AI agent?
Yep.
This is a demo that we did.
Yeah.
Hi, this is All Service Accident Attorney's automated assistant. You can also, I'm reaching out to you today. Can you please tell me, are you calling about an existing case or do you have a new personal injury matter that you need help with?
I have a new matter.
Can you please describe the incident that led to your injury, including what happened, where it happened, and when it occurred?
Yeah, I was outside I-90 on outside Los Angeles and getting on an on-ramp, and I was just rear-ended, and now my neck hurts.
I'm so sorry to hear that. Just to confirm, did this incident occur in the state of North Carolina, or was it indeed in Los Angeles, as you mentioned?
All right, North Carolina. It was outside Raleigh, North Carolina.
Can you please tell me your full name?
S. Lee. ESLEE.
What is the best phone number to reach you at? Please provide a 10-digit number.
646-888-1234.
What is your email address?
Can I not provide that now?
I do need an email address to properly document your case, but I can also try to follow up with you later if you'd prefer not to share it now. Would that be okay with you?
Yeah, that's fine. I won't share it.
All right. I'll make a note to follow up with you for your email address later. To confirm, I have your name as Esley and your phone number as 646-888-1234, and you were rear-ended on a ramp outside of Raleigh, North Carolina, resulting in neck pain. Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct.
Wow. Yep.
I'm going to relay this information to one of our attorneys who will reach out to you to discuss your case further. If you don't hear back, you can text this number and ask for an appointment link to book a consultation call. Is there anything else I can assist you with before I let you go?
No, that's it.
You're all set. We'll be in touch soon. Have a great day, and thank you for reaching out to All Service Accident Attorneys.
All right.
Yeah. So that's an example of what you saw S doing earlier, which was via text with voice. So on the same phone number, you can have both texting functionality where people can text with the AI and have a whole conversation, and they can call it and have a voice conversation with them similar to the one that you saw. And obviously, you know, the agent, the main functionalities of the agent is to answer the phone within 30 seconds or respond to text messages within 30 seconds. Number 2 is to take down the information. And then number 3 is to notify you. And number 4 is to qualify. That's really it. Those 4 things are the primary functionalities that we have for an AI agent. And, you know, I just want to make it clear, very, very clear, like how simple this process really, really is, and how if the sooner that you get started with this, the sooner that the agent can be built and can learn about your business, because it does get better over time. It takes these phone calls and it refines itself through the large language model that it's you know using to learn, and through the you know the machine learning that it's doing. So it does get better over time, just like a little kid learns and gets better by playing with friends and having conversations. It's the same thing. It's the same exact scenario with the artificial intelligence or AI agent. So I just want, you know, I want people to see, if you can show your screen again, because I want to make sure it's really clear for people. When they go to TextMay, they click on they go to TextMay, they go to where it says set up an agent, and then they're going to go through the process that we went through earlier, okay, to set up an agent. It's very, very simple. And if you want to fast track, if you're a business owner and you want us to do this for you and set up the plumbing for you, that's the other really big thing, because you can set up this agent, but the challenge with the voice is to set it up in a way that it works with your current intake team. And that takes a little bit of process. And that's where we come in, because we've dialed in and refined the process of having the AI take those phone calls after your team has the first 20 seconds to answer it. We just set the same system up for a huge franchise, and it's really like blowing their minds about, because the reason why it's really blowing their minds is because of the fact that the agent is able to do as good or better than a human in terms of doing those 4 functions that I mentioned just a second ago. And it's completely scalable. Whereas, you know, you'd have to, and here's the other thing, you know, before you'd have to teach one person how to do what an intake person would do, okay, in your business, whatever that process is. With this agent, once you've taught the agent, that's it. You don't have to teach them again. You've got a soldier that can take as many calls simultaneously as you can throw at it, and it's completely scalable. So that's the other thing that a lot of people forget about, that is a really big advantage of the AI agent model that people don't think of, is the infinite scalability of it and the low cost of it. You know, typically a human intake person would cost you, I don't know, $3,000-$4,000 a month to have a really good intake person, or more. If you have an intake person for PI, they're getting bonused. They're having, you know, you're having to pay for off time, Social Security. You know, they might not show up one day. The AI agent, you never have any of those issues. You know, it shows up every single day doing the exact same thing. And that's also a very huge advantage. Another big advantage of it is that it's objective. It doesn't throw in additional things that you don't want it to talk about. It only does what you tell it to do. Whereas humans, sometimes they'll go off on their own tangents and introduce all kinds of new concepts into an intake process, for example. And that can really throw a wrench into your intake. If you have one person doing that over and over and over again, and you don't catch it, which I know a lot of intake teams, I know that they don't monitor this stuff. They're not monitoring the people that are actually answering the phone. That can cause your business thousands, if not hundreds of thousands or more dollars every year. The AI doesn't go off the rails like that. And you can, you can monitor it. And there's, what we found is that once we introduce an AI agent, to a business, they then go, okay, for example, the PI attorneys that we're working with, they go, okay, now that we've got it answering the phone for intake, for inbound lead generation from Google local service ads, and we've added it to our website with chat. So now we're ranking higher in search when people type in personal injury attorney near me. And we've added it to our Google business profile page, and we've added it to all of our social media, and we've added it to our website. And we put the 20-second delay so our intake team can actually take the first 20 seconds. And if they don't answer it, then it'll go to the AI. Now they're going, okay, what else can it do? Well, the next thing that we're doing is we're having it qualify those leads, obviously. But after that, what we're doing is we're going, okay, we can refer some of these leads out that maybe are not qualified for the business. And we can refer those leads out and create a whole nother revenue stream for the business owner that's super specific. The agent won't forget to send a referral out. They don't forget. They just do, because that's how you programmed it. It's like a computer, because it is, And so this is the reason why it's like, even businesses that have a referral system are going to make more money with an AI agent, because it's going to be so precise in how it actually does the referring. It's going to do it every time the same way. And so anyway,
I mean, we had one that was used, and practically how you would do it was what I showed you in the prompt, right? And we have some questions coming through. So this does touch on the second question of how does the process of lead qualification work? Does it follow the business job types set on my profile page? That's a great question. So when we did when I showed you that prompt there, that's where I even put in, if you have a script, right? Ask me for my name, ask me for a description of the incident. And you literally just write in there, here's the conversation flow you should have.
Mm-hmm.
You ask one question at a time. First, ask me for my name. Second, ask me about the incident. Third, ask me for my address. And you literally just type that in. And so, when you think about referrals too, we have this one deployment where it was a structural engineer, and he referred out his business. If it was terrain related, I use Medro. If I have a regular inspection on the house or on the roof, it's this. Or if it's balcony related, it's this, right? And you've basically just specify it there, so that every time somebody says something, they might not have even used those words if it's terrain related. Hey, I want to look at the soil, that my property's on, right? It has the ability to say, okay, well, that's terrain related. Okay, well, here's the number that you should call, or this is the business that that specializes in this. And so now just think, every business has calls where it's not a perfect fit, right? And they always have these regular referrals. You pop in that telephone number, right? And so when somebody asks about that, it's like, hey, we don't focus on this, but I know the exact right firm that does exactly this. Would you like me to give you their number? Yes. And when we look back at the transcripts for that, the satisfaction rate was like 80 or 90%, where I would look down in the conversation, right? And people were like, thank you so much. You've been so helpful, because it was able to give this person what they wanted within the 5 minutes that they first found him, right?
Yes.
And so people will say, do people want to chat with the bot? Like, yes, if it's going to get you exactly what you wanted.
Absolutely.
It's okay with the bot. It's even better.
I prefer it. It's because I find that the bot actually has a quicker access to the knowledge that I need than a human does, because it's a computer. I mean, it has instant access to every bit of information that you put in the knowledge base. And if you put in it doesn't delay, it's instantaneous. And so, Theo, and I want to also say, what S just said is, sometimes I don't think he really gives himself enough credit, because what he did is he effectively had this guy retired, because this engineer was spending 4 to 5 hours a day just taking these referral phone calls. Now the AI agent does that, and he's getting the same success rate and probably an even higher satisfaction rate, because the information was gathered faster or given to the person more effectively and more efficiently. And so at least as good or better of a success rate or a satisfaction rate. And he doesn't have to do any of the phone calls. He doesn't have to do any of the referring. The agent does that. And now the agent just does that like 4 to 5 hours a day for him. And he doesn't have to, now he can work on things that are much more important, that are a higher and better use of his time. So have you seen, so Theo Prada, thanks for the question. Have you seen the verifications that the verifications are now taking months due to the volume? And S, by the way, you should be able to click on the question and then post it. See if you can, like, to the actual live stream. So have you seen that the verifications are now taking months due to the volume? No, the verifications are not taking that long. We've got a system down for it. We have a process that we go through that's time tested, and it works very, very well. So that's a good question though. So what Theo's referring to is the A2P process. A, the number 2, and then P as in Paul. Alpha, 2, and then P as in Paul. So that process used to take a while. The government just initiated this process, probably a year and a half ago.
Yeah, when they forced it, they required every telephone number. And A to P stands for application to peer. So when you text somebody, it's P to P, right? It's peer to peer. You get somebody's telephone number. But if a system or a business responds to a personal message, right, or like sends a message to your private phone number, then it needs to be registered, because it goes to the telecom networks, AT&T, T-Mobile, Verizon, and they need to make sure that you're a legitimate business that's not going to be sending out spam.
Yep. And that's the reason why. So Theo has another question. What, even the background check, how are you speeding it up? So we're just speeding it up because we're going through the process very effectively. We know the questions to ask, and we know what the business needs to submit in order to get the process approved the first time. So the background check you might be referring to is the background check for Google Local Service Ads. That's a separate process. That's not obviously having anything to do with A2P, but do you know what he's talking about there in terms of a background check for A2P?
Yeah, I mean, the A2P process is they want you to give some examples of like what's some of the things what type of messages that will be sent across. They want your business name, tax ID number if you have one, and it's pretty kind of cookie cutter. But we have run into issues where they don't notify you. So we use Twilio, and we've read from third parties it takes from 2 days to 2 weeks, and we've had some of that experience with people that we didn't onboard through Ryan through his process. And yeah, it can range. And about a year ago, they required all 10 DLC, 10-digit numbers to go through that, because prior to that, they allowed everybody to do it, just buying that telephone number without registering, but they cracked down on that. And so there was a bottleneck for probably like a month or two where it took a while for that, but I'm sure that's kind of gone away now.
Yeah, so I hope that answers your question, Theo. And if anybody else has any questions, please ask us. Roque, so how does the process, here's another question. How does the process of lead qualification work? So the process of lead qualification works by us putting in the lead qualification questions in the prompt, and maybe even putting some of that information into the knowledge base in order to make sure that the agent knows exactly how to qualify the lead and what questions to ask. We're actually implementing, here's a little bit of inception for you. We're actually implementing, because it's fun. I mean, this is how we learn. Like even though I'm using artificial intelligence and I'm offering it to businesses, I still find myself being on the receiving end of, oh my gosh, now that we've done this, can we do that? And And this is something that we're experiencing, just like the businesses that we help are experiencing. It's like, okay, now that we've done this, what else is possible? And that's what I would invite you guys to start having a conversation with us about is, okay, let's get started, because the earlier you start, the more you're going to be able to identify is going to be able to be taken away or off your plate, or effectively, eliminated or improved or optimized through the utilization of artificial intelligence. So I would encourage you guys to start the process, because just to give you another example. So, well, let me just finish with Roque here. So that's how the lead qualification process works. So we give it very specific instructions, and what we're doing. Yeah, I mean for LSA. Yeah, Theo. So thank you for that clarification there. So with LSA, no, we don't go through the background check and process that. We can't speed that process up. We do that for our clients though. So thanks for asking, Theo. But getting back to Roque's question,
Do you see my screen, by the way? Is this showing up?
I don't see it. No, I'm not seeing what are you. I don't know if you're able to show the questions, but it's extremely easy to do. It just takes around 5 weeks at a time. Yeah, it does. It is extremely easy to do, to get the background check done, but it is taking a little bit of time. Now I'm seeing your screen.
Okay.
But yeah, go ahead.
So
you're going to answer this question?
Yeah, I mean, this was that call that we just did. This was the prompt that we put in, right? Your first message in a conversation should greet me, say you're an automated assistant, right? And then number 2, then ask what type of injury, what happened, right? Clarify that it would happen in North Carolina, and that's when I said Los Angeles. But if it didn't happen here, right, in North Carolina, that's outside its coverage area, and I said Los Angeles, right, it would have told me, sorry, we can't service you, and end the conversation because we only represent clients in North Carolina. And then ask me for my telephone number, name, or my name, number, and email, right? And the number needs to be a 10-digit number, and the email should be a valid email. So when I didn't want to provide an email, I didn't even explicitly say, okay, well, if they don't want to give me the email, I just, like, this is all that's written. Only after I provided my name, phone number, and email, then recap this to me, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah, this was kind of the behind the scenes. This is how the sausage is made.
Yeah, and I love it. So I mean, this is so you can see, and hopefully that really makes it clear and drives the point home, Roque, about exactly how it's done. It's in the prompt. It's in the recipe. And it's in it's in how we are interacting with the agent in order to teach it as that infant that it is in the beginning. So does it follow the business job type set at my profile page? Does it follow the business job type set at my profile? Good question. So it can, I mean, we can have it externally look up additional information very easily. So that's a great question. And this is, again, what's possible. These are additional things that are possible, that we can do. And it's only, it's only through the, through doing this, like starting this process, that we're able to do this stuff. So I hope that makes sense. So, yeah, what other questions? I'd love to answer. Oh, and here's the other example. So there's another example that I'd like to give, that of how we set up the AI for attorneys. One of the things that the attorneys wanted to do is they really wanted to they wanted to learn more about what's possible, in addition to in addition to us being able to go in and route referrals to their business partners. There's another use case for artificial intelligence where we're able to identify through the conversation that the AI had, or maybe even through the conversation that a human had, we're able to identify what the outcome of the call is so that we can give much more detailed information to the business about what's going on in their business. So these are things that are possible through the utilization of artificial intelligence to identify what was said in the call in order to tag the call and do other things that are very useful to not only businesses but also agency owners, because we do white label our product, our AI product, to businesses. So if you are an agency owner, we can, talk to you about how we're able to allow you to represent our software or use our software and offer it to your clients. But do you want to talk about that as well, as in terms of like,
Yep.
how the AI can be used to qualify?
Yeah. I mean, so with a lot of the business owners that we talk to, some will have CRM, some have call tracking, um, and it's usually like this spaghetti plate of technology, right?
Mhm.
And the reason we are so forthcoming with how to create this is because we want to help solve that next level of problem for businesses, right? I use this call tracking service. I have a CRM here. It tags this, and then how do we make that all work? And with us, like we go, hey, do as much as you with yourself as possible. Brian's team is there to kind of onboard, speed run you through that initial use case, right? But when you start thinking about your next case, which is okay, well, I have these systems and I manage it here. Can you help us? And we can. So we're having, sessions like this to find these owners that have that problem and say, hey, look, let's just chat. If you're using a CRM or you're using this third-party service, we integrate with all of that. So long as that service has APIs, we could put the bot into your existing infrastructure, right? So if you don't have any, great. Like our product can give you basically a system, an AI system. But if you already have ones, like let's chat, because we can go in and plug all this stuff up so that it operates almost like just an additional employee, right? Like if you use a CRM and you have 3 employees responding to leads, right? Just think of the AI as the 4th employee with its own telephone number. So whatever workflow that you had, hey, on weekends, it's employee number 3. Well, it's employee number 3 and the AI. And we can look at what your existing kind of automation flow you have any is, and then insert that AI in the right place so that you're not fundamentally changing the way you do business right now. It's just insurance, right?
Yeah.
In the middle of the night, on weekends, or when a human doesn't pick up, when one of those 3 employees don't pick up, all right, here's the 4th one that's always working.
Yep. Exactly. And so those are additional use cases for artificial intelligence. Just so it's clear, the reason why somebody would leverage our company or contact us in order to set up the artificial intelligence is very clear. It's because you're going to pay for speed, and you're also going to pay to be able to have all of these things taken care of for you. The integration of a voice and a text agent in one phone number. Okay. So I hope that's really clear, because outside of our platform and the AI that we've created, there's really no other solution that we know of out there where you can put both voice and messaging on one phone number. Okay. And have it work with the same prompt. We're using, and then also with a knowledge base, with the texting side of things. And eventually we're going to make it so that we have a knowledge base for both. Right now, we have a knowledge base for the texting side of things.
Yeah,
So,
and it's different. And if you think about what you would tell an employee, right? If somebody texts in, do these things. If a lead calls in, you would do something different, right? And we've all had those phone calls in the information collection part. The voice, there can be background noise, you can't hear it. It's like when you're chatting with somebody, and like, give me the address. You're like, don't tell me the address, just text it to me, right?
Mhm.
And it's a different behavior. And so they have to be separate for now, because They're effectively different employees with different workflows, different scripts. And, if you use a CRM, something like that, then we can put those automations together, right? So that in, you say, and the benefit of having it on the same number is exactly that. When you have a call with somebody and you're collecting their information, they're like, no, just text the same number, right? This information, and now the bot answers that. So I think that's a real differentiator from, like Ryan said, any system that we've seen out there. And by the way, just to close off that thought on the reason why these IVR, press 1 for this, press 2 for representatives, even though that technology has been around, companies like Twilio have been around where you can do A2P messaging, right? It's not implemented. It's because of all those different modules that I showed on the flowchart before, right? You have 8 different modules, and it was so difficult for small businesses to actually assemble those things together. It doesn't make sense. There's no business that will have the technical expertise to both do that, the piping, the development, the updating of that while running their business, right?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, this is why it's important to find a good agency, an AI agency that can really help you to build in the plumbing that I talked about earlier, the 20-second delay, something called SimuCall, where you can actually call multiple numbers at the same time, and then a call flow. And we do this through either, for example, CallRail, or we do that through Go High Level, or there's other platforms that are used like Ring Central, etc. So that you even have the capability to be able to have your intake have the first shot at that call, and so, you want to work with somebody that is constantly improving the AI, because it's a very rapidly changing field, and one that changes probably almost daily, so that you want to make sure that you're on the cutting edge of and in the know when those changes take place, so that you can take advantage of them and leverage them to do additional features or functionalities with the AI, or have the AI perform different functionalities than what you were able to do before. For example, now pretty soon you're going to be able to have the artificial intelligence, not only with messaging, but also with voice, be able to go back and forth with multiple different languages and converse in the same conversation with multiple different languages. And this is now a possibility. That wasn't a possibility even 2-3 weeks ago. Now it's a possibility with OpenAI opening up their API. For
and
voice.
the language one, I'm glad you brought that up, Ryan, is when you think about businesses and they grow, right? And they don't have somebody calls in and they're not able to speak that language. If you do it on text, we put in the prompt where it's whatever language I text in, reply in the same language, right? So now all of a sudden your business can take on, Spanish, French, Swahili speakers, right?
Yep.
And then on the voice piece, and that was like Ryan said, it was difficult before because the old technology basically took voice to change it to text, and then text back to speech, right? And if you're speaking Spanish, you're going to pronounce words differently, and that's about to go away. Where even that voice model, OpenAI is opening up their API so that with that same prompt, you could say, okay, when somebody calls in, speak to me in whatever language in the language I speak to you in. So if somebody calls your agent speaking Spanish, it'll reply in Spanish.
Yeah, that's huge. So if you have a client base that speaks multiple different languages, then you can leverage artificial intelligence to meet them where they're at and to communicate them in the language that they're most used to, in order to increase the likelihood that you can convert them. And that brings up a really good point, which is conversion. The big question is, and this is what we're analyzing right now, is the artificial intelligence answered phone calls able to convert a lead at the same rate or the same conversion rate that a human answered call would be converted at. And so this is the big question right now that we're starting to answer, and we're seeing that it's pretty darn close. And so when you add in the fact that the average business probably misses about 20% of their calls anyway and does not answer them, and it goes to a voicemail. Whereas if you have an AI agent actually answering that phone call instead, you now have a chance to convert that 20% that previously was going to voicemail, and the person was probably just going to go and pick up the phone and call the next business on the list on Google that's just below that business. And so this is why it's so important. I can almost guarantee that the data is going to show that by implementing a AI agent with your intake team to support them and supplement them after the humans have the first 20 seconds, is going to lead to a much higher conversion rate than if you did not do it. Number one, first and foremost. I mean, it's almost a given, because you're answering the additional 20% of calls that previously were not being answered. Okay. So it's really important for you guys as business owners to know what your response rate is. And every time I talk to a business owner, they think it's 100%. If you look at the data and you go to your Google local service ads and you look at the black and white numbers, I guarantee you it's not 100%. I've talked to hundreds of businesses over the years, and every time they say that, I go, oh no, we got to look. We look, and the number is 80%, 70%, 60%. And I mean, if you're at 60% and you're missing 40% of your calls, and now you've got an agent that can respond the way that you saw S had the agent respond earlier, I think you'd agree that a lot of people that a lot of those calls will at least schedule an appointment versus hanging up and going to the next business. So that's what we're, and as time goes on, it's going to get better and better. The agent's going to sound more human, human-like. It's really close to passing the Turing test. I mean, I think that,
we're probably like 3 or 4 months away, right?
Yeah.
Where people are not going to be able to tell.
Yeah. And that's a good point. We still start the conversation with the notification that, hey, I'm an AI agent, so that we let the cat out of the bag, so the person knows. And so they don't have, we let them know that we're not trying to pull a fast one on them. We're just trying to give them a better user experience. We're trying to solve their issues. And by the way, we also say just after that, if you want to be transferred to a human, let me know at any time and I'll transfer you, so that we give the person an out. It's not, they don't have to stay with the agent, in order all the way through the conversation. So I think that's also important to point out and for people to understand.
Yeah.
So, with that, I mean, I think this is a really good start. I just wanted to like I said in the beginning of our video, I just wanted to document our conversations, S, and we talked about this because S and I talk like this a lot. And as you listen to these conversations that we have, you'll see that we're going to reveal more about specific case studies as time goes on, and we're going to give you specific data that will help you guys, beyond the shadow of a doubt, be able to make a decision about whether or not you want to use artificial intelligence besides all the advantages that we gave today. I mean, I want to be able to give you black and white data that shows that, for example, the conversion rate of an AI answered call is as good or better than a human answered call. I mean, I want to give you that data, and I want to, give you additional data as time goes on, like, how much more revenue a business is able to make on a monthly basis after the AI was introduced, because that 20% of calls that were previously being missed are now being answered by artificial intelligence, and because we're giving Google what it wants. We're answering the phone within 30 seconds, so that the actual lead volume is going up, that sort of stuff. So I hope that makes sense. And if you guys have any questions, if you're watching this on a replay, put in the comments below, or wherever you're watching this video at, just put in the comments, your question, and we will definitely bring that up the next time that we get on. And if to reach us, you just go to accelerateyourmarketing.com. That's accelerateyourmarketing.com, and the phone number is 619-304-5155. You can text it as well. Again, that's 619-304-5155. And then, I think that's really it. I mean, you have any other comments, Bess, or?
No. I mean, we'll be doing these daily, right? So it's almost like we're having a discussion with each other. And if you want to hop in the discussion, right, like you have direct access to us.
Yeah, absolutely. And we're gonna chop these videos up into longer form videos that just give as much value as we possibly can, and then also short form videos as well. But we just want to answer your questions in real time. So that's the purpose of doing this. So if you have any questions, if you have any friends that you know of that have questions about artificial intelligence and how to implement this into their business, whether you're a sole proprietor or you're an enterprise business, we can help you, and anywhere in between. S is set up enterprise level solutions for very large businesses, and so we'd love to talk to you if you're trying to implement these strategies in your business. So with that, we'll sign off. Thanks, S, for jumping on, and
Thanks, man.
yeah, man, we'll talk
All
soon.
right. Talk
Thank
soon.
you.
Bye, everyone.